Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Deneen and this is Design by Denine. Today I'm going to be showing you 3 more ways to make a Christmas cone tree. I have done this more than once. I have a video of 3 versions of a white tree and also 3 versions of silver trees. To start with, I made a set of 3 cones using poster board, and I made them in 14, 16, and 18 inches high. To make your cones, I'm going to refer you to this video, which I'm linking to up in the top, and this is my video on how to make a perfect cone. I painted 2 of the cones with Rust-Oleum metallic spray paint, and for the 3rd one I applied a gold metallic foil adhesive paper to it before rolling it. You don't have to do this part, you could just as easily spray all 3 of the trees in gold. On the bottoms of these ones, I used gold dollar store paper plates, and they work quite well. So I chose some ribbon from Dollarama, and basically I just grabbed 2 that happened to have the same pattern, and it turned out that it worked out to be a pretty close match to the gold, which is excellent. I cut a piece that was just slightly longer than the height of the cone, and then I cut 8 more pieces the same. I marked the bottom of the plate off in halves, quarters, and eighths, so that my ribbons would be evenly spaced. I started by gluing one end of the ribbon to the top of the cone without any extra overlap, and then pull the piece of ribbon taut and fold it under the bottom and glue it, hold it and glue it in place on the bottom. So then I decided that it was entirely too plain and it needed to be blinged up a little bit. This is bling on a roll, otherwise known as diamond wrap. And first thing I'm going to do is measure a piece that is the full, just slightly over the full length of the cone. And then take our scissors and we are going to cut them all into individual pieces. So we're going to need 8 pieces to go all the way around the cone in between the existing ribbon. And same as we did with the ribbon, we are going to start by attaching one end of the diamond wrap to the very top of the cone and then pulling it taut and affixing it underneath the cone on the plate. Repeat this step until we have a row of diamond wrap in between every row of ribbon all the way around the cone. For the bottom of the cone, I used adhesive rhinestones, and the reason that I did this instead of just using a single row of diamond wrap is because it would lump up over top of the diamond wrap. So I just stuck down the rhinestones in between the diamond wrap, so from one to the next over top of the ribbon, and then broke it off. So after doing more than a few of these cone trees, I have come up with a much better way of adding lines, since most of my cone trees require lines be added before adding any kind of finish. So I started by marking lines at 1-inch increments up the seam of the tree. And then what you want to do is you want to grab your Sharpie and place it at the 1-inch mark, and don't move your hand, and then just rotate the tree around gently. Once the lines get higher than you can comfortably hold your hand, I just added something to rest my hand on. In this case, it's just a Dollar Tree gift box, and continue the process until complete. The beads that I used for this tree are from Dollar Tree, and you can find them in the party section, and they come in lots of colors, and I have used them in gold. So this tree has lines marked at 1-inch intervals, and then along those lines I've marked off at the 2-inch marks all the way around. so that I can keep my swags nice and even. So just add a drop of glue at all the 2-inch marks and then attach the beads, keeping the swags nice and even all the way around the bottom level of the cone tree. Alternate the swags so that it creates like an opening in between the beads, and continue doing this all the way up the tree. It gets a bit harder to do as you get further up, but if it doesn't continue all the way up, it's fine, it'll still work out. Again, I decided it wasn't blingy enough for my liking, so I added some rhinestone gems. These are just assorted size gems from Dollar Tree, and I've used the larger ones on the bottom section of the tree for the first 3 or so rows, and then I used the smaller ones the rest of the way up. The top of my tree got a tiny bit munched while I was making it, so to finish off the top, what I ended up doing was I got 2 of the larger rhinestones and I applied them to kind of front and back and stuck them together to make a bit of a star for the top of the tree. But because I like to provide you guys with options, here is some bling wrap that I picked up from Dollarama, and it's shaped like little flowers with diamonds in the middle. So I peeled off one of those and cut the little pieces of string off of it, and I'm going to use this as the star on the top of my tree. Well, this one got even blingier than I intended it to be, and it's got a little bit of weight to it. So here it is in all its glory. Like the previous tree, this one starts with some lines being drawn around the circumference of the tree. These lines are at the 2-inch mark, so they're 2 inches apart, and I did this on the 18-inch tree, which means there are 9 sections. And then I took some ribbon, gold ribbon, and I just wrapped it around the tree at the 2-inch mark lines. I didn't glue it all the way around, I just tacked it on a couple of spots. So this is tube confetti, which I didn't even know existed until recently, but it was pretty sparkly and I picked it up at Dollar Tree. So we're going to use Mod Podge to attach this, and the one thing that you want to pay attention to when you're doing this is you don't want to get your Mod Podge all over your ribbon. You want to keep your ribbon clean. So when you're applying the Mod Podge, you're going to just get it on your brush and you're going to sort of tap your brush up against the ribbon so that it doesn't actually get on the ribbon, it just goes up to the edge of the ribbon, just like this. Once a section is coated in Mod Podge, and you want to coat it pretty well, you don't want it drippy, but you want it pretty well coated, then you're going to just take your tube confetti, and I've put it in a paper plate here, and you're just going to dump it on top, and then once you've got a really good layer of it dumped on, you're kind of going to pat it down a little bit and continue all the way around until that whole section is covered in tube confetti. And it's best to let each section dry before you go working on the next section, because there's a really good risk that you're going to smudge it around. On the lower and larger sections of the cone, I dumped the tube confetti out of the plate and just put it on a piece of paper with a nice crease in it so I can dump it back out when I'm done. And then this time you're just going to roll your cone, and I actually did 2 sections at once when I got to the bottom. So basically you're just going to roll your cone into the tube confetti and tamp it down and then just let it dry. And here is our confetti tree all done. I suggest that you actually add another additional layer of Mod Podge on top of the tube confetti to keep it in place. Thank you so much for joining me for this latest round of mini trees or Christmas cone trees. If you like these, you may like the other ones I've already done. I will link to them in the description box below, and I'll also have some little cards up above. And as always, I would really love to know which one was your favorite tree. So for your review, here they are. Well, that's probably going to be it for me for cone trees this year, but I am planning on doing some more next year. I still have lots and lots of ideas of different ways that I can do them up. But what I would love from you guys is let me know what colors you'd like to see. I kind of am partial to blue and purple and some kind of offbeat colors, not your standard Christmas colors. But I would really love to know what colors you guys would like to see, and that's what I'll plan for next year. Thanks again for stopping by.